like breaking many laws. Hello everyone, this is me, Mag, and today we are going to do a vehicle breakdown with my R32 GTR. I've owned this car for about 5 years, and in that 5 years, I definitely didn't keep it stock. So in 2018, I bought this car from auction, and I actually got in contact with the previous owner online. Because of that, we've been talking back and forth for the past few years, and last year I was able to visit him on my Japan trip. I'll probably be visiting him again within the next month or so, and every single time it's always friendly back and forth. He's moved on to another Nissan actually, I can't say what it is. We're both still very, very in love with this car, and every single time I post about it, he likes to see what I'm up to. So this is a 1993 Nissan Skyline GTR. It is not a V-Spec, it is just a regular GTR. So my car happens to have a few optional parts that are N1 parts, and basically they include the front air ducts, the side skirts, and also the rear pods and back. I don't have the trunk lip, which will complete everything. Just keep in mind that these are all options. So my friend was actually kind enough to lend me his BBS LMs for this video, and originally the S15 wheels that I put on were rubbing a little bit in the back. I'm not sure what it was, but it was a sound that made me worried enough to be like, hey, you know what, I should probably get something else to drive on. These originally came off an R33 GTR, and I thought that they would be a little bit too big, but they turned out to be 9s or 9.5s, and they fill in not the best, but you know, as a temporary thing, it looks pretty cool. So my interior definitely isn't the cleanest, but I would say it's pretty good for its age. The previous owner took pretty good care of this thing, and I want to continue it too, so I basically left it as it was. He put in this Apexi boost gauge, and it appears to be pretty old and pretty rare, so I was like, okay, I'll keep it. I decided to add a Nardi a couple years down the line, and I also added a truss shift knob paired with a C's short throw shifter. That's pretty hard to say. And now that I'm looking back at it, this short throw shifter is so ridiculously notchy. I don't know if you can hear it, but it is a lot of effort to get into gear now. I preferred a little bit more buttery, I would say, and this is definitely like the bolt action thing that people want. I'm usually more of a reserved person, so stuff like this that feel very, very race car-y aren't usually for me. So it has seen better days, this little coin, but this thing is so ridiculously notchy. C shifter is really no joke. It is so aggressive. I can see why people like it, but for everyday driving, it's a little bit of a pain. So I should also mention too that I actually have a Nismo twin plate copper mix in here, and it is a pretty heavy clutch. I don't understand why people say that it's very, very OEM, because my Silvia's clutch is very, very light. I honestly don't know how I drove this in New York City for as long as I did, but now it is a little bit of a pain. So now that I'm sitting in this car, it feels pretty nostalgic actually. I've only owned it for 5 years, and the Silvia has been in my hands for what, like 4 months now? But still, I feel like this feels more like home. Don't get me wrong, the quality of everything inside, the Silvia is so much better, but this is still very, very comfy. I would say the seats in this are actually better than the Silvia seats. They hold you very, very well. So I love these OEM triple gauges. So the left one is obviously battery, the middle one is oil temperature, and then the one on the right is boost pressure. And if you haven't been in a GTR before, one weird thing is it kind of only has one stalk right here. So your windshield wiper controls are on that side, and over here you have your headlight controls. So basically everything else is on this upper panel, and this is just the turn signals and high beam. So down here, there's actually a little clock, and usually these things never work, but in my case, I got it repaired. And unfortunately, I could not escape the dash bubble. Yeah, mine has lifting here as well as kind of over here too. All of them have it, you can't do much about it. And sometimes these vents over time, they break like that on the inside. The plastic becomes pretty brittle. That one I replaced on the left side, but I just didn't get around to this one yet. The one over here is usually good though. So this one has no issues, and the design is pretty cool where you turn it to close it. So this is an RB26, and I have the valve covers painted this Porsche silver, I believe. Right now I'm running R35 GTR coil packs with a PRP kit, and this Nismo intake pipe thing improves airflow from the twin turbos. I decided to keep the twin turbo setup because I wanted it to be like more OEM-ish. And in the very, very back, I have a Nismo air oil separator. There's not much to see, but somewhere down there is HKS GTSS turbos, and believe it or not, I actually did the twin turbos with the engine still in. It is very, very tough, but it is doable. I made this front intake thing down here that you can see, and it funnels air all the way up to the stock air box over here. I also have some intercooler piping. I don't know if you can see it, maybe a little bit. Stock intercooler though, because usually those are okay up to like 500-ish horsepower or more. So right now we have injector dynamics injectors, and we have a 3-port boost solenoid. And if I didn't mention, the car right now is on Tains, and they're actually pretty comfortable for the price point. So my GTR can actually do one more thing that I want to show you guys. So you guys can see the title of this video, and yes, when I was in college, I basically wrote a program that would read the values off my Link ECU. I know right now there's like digital dashes that people can buy. I just thought that I can make it a little bit more flashy, cooler, and you know, I tried my best. There's stuff now that I'm actually in the field, I'm like, I wouldn't have designed it that way, probably would have done it a little bit differently. But keep in mind, when I did this, I was a student, you know, and it's a while back. Okay, so this is basically my dashboard. And right now I know it's like in a demo mode and there's a lot going on the screen, but we're going to go to a separate mode, which is more normal, I would say. And then afterwards, we're going to go out for a real drive with this running to show you that it, you know, actually works. Let us switch to something more calm. There we go. So on the right side, it's super big, is the tachometer, and you can see it iterating all the way from 0 to 10, and that is basically the RPM. It increases every 200 RPM, you gain one of the bars on the outside. As the number in the middle also increases, the color will change from a kind of like a white all the way up to like a red, a lightish red. And once you hit a certain amount of RPM, it will actually pop a warning. And that is meant to be like configurable. So whatever you want to set it to, you can set your RPM. In terms of the KPA at the bottom left, it's the second biggest thing on the screen. That is actually your boost pressure. And it is reading in kilopascal because it is what Link uses. You can read it in PSI if you want to, and I probably could convert it to PSI, but I just decided to leave it at that because, you know, it's what I also see in Link software. So right now, at the top right of the KPA, it will also read the peak boost. So whatever boost you hit as a maximum during your drive, it will record that. And if it is over a certain amount that you set, it will show you that you're actually over boosting. It will also show you if you are currently in boost by this circular triangle thing that goes around it. Now that I look back at it, this is the one thing that I'm like, I probably would have designed it differently. It's not pretty. Anyway. At the bottom middle, we have this lambda thing, and it basically reads your air-fuel ratio. So it will tell you when you're fuel cutting, if you're lean, whatever it may be. I know fuel cut occurs normally, so I didn't want the warning for this to be anything too, you know, flashy. I didn't want to distract you because, once again, you step off the pedal, you're gonna run lean anyway. We have the battery in the very, very middle, and that will also pop a warning, well, I guess it's usually consistent. It will pop a warning if it's low. Now at the top left, we have these 3 gauges, and these 3 gauges are kind of a temporary thing now. Let me explain. So right here we have oil pressure, we have oil temperature, and water temperature. I meant it so these gauges are kind of interchangeable. Let's say that you want water temp all the way on the left, you can do it, right? If you don't want water temp at all, you want to put something else in, like, I don't know, but you can put it in there, right? You can substitute it in. And these gauges also have multiple stages. So if I switch back to the other view, you can see that the one all the way on the right is a status okay thing to let you know that the values are basically within a safe range. You also have something that is going to be a middle-ish view, so it's kind of a warning view, and that is a yellow, and that will tell you if your values are approaching something that should be of concern. And you also have this red one over here, which is like a danger view, which is trying to get your attention as in this value is very, very bad. So I meant it so every single gauge will have its own adjustable stages. So it has a normal stage, what is okay, what is becoming a warning, and then on top of that, what is becoming like a dangerous value, right? And these should be customizable for every single gauge. So water temp, for example, will have its own 3 sets of values that you can set on what is okay, what is a warning, what is danger, and then so forth, right? At a certain point, I would also want more than 3 gauges here, right? I would want you to put as many as you want, maybe put it wherever you want. But for now, for my purposes, you know, I just figured that I would just have those stages there. I can program everything in if I wanted to, but it's just a demo thing, right? Please keep that in mind. So I'm just going to ask, please do not ask me for code when it comes to this, right? It's not super difficult to do in terms of reading in values. You can probably do it too with a little bit of research, but everything else is, you know, something that I completely made. All the assets that you see, I did it myself, and I would like to keep it as a personal thing until, you know, one day, if I do, I decide to make it a full product that everybody can use. I think it needs a lot more polishing up, and once again, I was a student when I made this, so it is definitely by no means ready for anybody else to use. But for the time being, let's just keep it as a fun project on the channel. Anyway, so we're going to take this out right now. We're going to drive the car around and try to get the different views, values being read in, and I want to show you this thing working in real time basically. I'm going to try this weird POV setup. You'll see it when I do it, but anyway, let's get out there. Ready? So you can see this right now is about 1,000. It reads a little bit low. And the RPM is about the same. I mean, it just jumped up a little bit higher. Okay, I also have this GoPro here, so we're going to be alternating between this view and a first person view. I don't know how I'm going to do this. This is the first POV on this channel, so cut me some slack. Are you ready, guys? So right there, you saw like the boost thing, you see it? So when I'm in boost, that triangle appears on the left side around the KPA gauge. And let's see, maybe I can rev it here. Woo! So there we go. Like, I recorded my max boost right there, which was 200 kPa. I mean, you can translate that into PSI if you want to. I don't know what it would be. My water temp increased a little bit since I was driving, and I forgot that oil pressure and oil temp in this car, I think you need aftermarket gauges, or I just haven't configured it in the ECU to read the values properly. I guess I haven't like put it into a byte stream to parse yet. I know I'm spitting like a lot of technical shit, and you guys might not be into computer science like I am, but just know that I just didn't set up the data to be read. I'm like breaking many laws for you guys right now to prove that it works. Woo-wee. people say these cars are overhyped, and you know what? Maybe the price is pretty ridiculous now. I can't disagree with that. But good God, are these cars monstrous. God damn! Let's just take it easy. Let's go home. I think I proved enough that, you know, this is legit. There's no way I fake like 10 minutes of driving to sync up to some video footage. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was really difficult to actually get the POV stuff for the first time. I'm starting to realize that my camera, which is basically my phone, isn't really good enough, or I don't really like the quality that outputs in certain situations, so I'm probably going to get like an actual professional camera sometime soon. Anyway, as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.